Hello and welcome to this short technical video from Barclaycard. I'll give you a brief overview of linking a website to the ePDQ Internet Payment Gateway, and then we'll dive into the integration. There are three different versions of the hosted service that you can use: ePDQ Essential, Extra and Extra Plus. The integration I'll show you today is for Essential. I'll reference the integration guides in this video. I'll link to them in the box below, but if you're watching and working as you go, I'll put the links on screen for you now. You should read these guides before you start your integration. ePDQ provides merchants with a hosted payment page that lets you display a company logo with the Barclaycard logo. This can often give internet shoppers a feeling of security, knowing that the merchant uses a bank gateway. Barclaycard is responsible for the security of the page and for keeping the card data safe and secure. ePDQ Essential payment page uses a static template which we host and is straightforward to integrate. As well as the logos, you can customize the payment page to look like the website by changing the background font and color. Often integrations to ePDQ can be done by using a pre-configured shopping cart, but for this video we won't be using one. You'll find a list of compatible carts on our website. Although this demo will show you how to integrate ePDQ Essential for a desktop browser, you can also create other templates for your payment pages for mobile devices. If you've never integrated ePDQ before, or even if you are familiar with it, we hope this video will assist you with your integration. Before you begin, you'll need a trial or test account. You can register for one by emailing or calling our ePDQ support team, details in the box below. When you have your account, you'll be provided with a URL, a PSP ID, which is your account reference in ePDQ, a username and a password. Once you have these, you can log in and begin. Your integration to ePDQ links back to the settings you make in the back office. You'll need to configure these to make the integration work, but you can change or update these at any time. If you're working on behalf of a merchant, it's important you have a good understanding of their business. By checking how quickly the merchant ships their goods, you can adjust when settlement takes place. You can also set up their user access and help them decide which access permissions to give to each user. Now we'll focus on the technical and integration setup in the back office. Most of the important settings are found in the technical information screen. I'll step through them to show you what needs to be done. Here you'll set up how the authorization and settlement of each transaction takes place. If you select Sale, this means that all authorized transactions will be automatically sent for settlement to the acquirer each night. Often known as pre-auth, when you select Authorization, it'll enable the transaction to be authorized, but the merchant will need to perform a data capture action to settle each transaction. With Authorization as the transaction type, ePDQ can be configured to settle after a set number of days. Again, remember to make sure you speak with the merchant to set this up in line with when they ship their goods. Next is Global Security Parameters. Here you will set the hash algorithm that you wish to use for the integration. Typically this is left as SHA-1. You must use the same SHA function within your code that you have set within this section of the back office. So if you set hash algorithm to SHA-512 in the back office, you must use SHA-512 within the integration. You can also specify the encoding you wish to use for passing over the transaction request. Leave these settings as they are unless you plan on passing non-alphanumeric characters or you wish to use a more complex hash algorithm. Next is the payment page layout. Occasionally a cardholder will decide not to proceed with their order, and rather than relying on the cardholder selecting the back button, you can select here to display a cancel button on the hosted payment page. This is also where you'll supply the back URL. If a transaction has been declined by the card issuer, this URL is the location on the website that the cardholder returns to where you may let them pay on another card. The back URL will only be called if the cardholder has selected the payment method on the checkout page. If the cardholder selects the payment method on the ePDQ payment page, the back URL is not taken into account. Here you set the final URL of the checkout page containing the payment form and some hidden HTML fields, which we'll visit later. The SHA-IN passphrase used within the SHA algorithm is also recorded here. The URL or URLs must always start with HTTP or HTTPS. You can enter the full URL or simply the domain name. The latter will result in all subdirectories and pages of that domain being accepted. If you have more than one domain, you can enter several URLs, but they must be separated with a semicolon with no spaces before or after. The SHA-IN passphrase must be a minimum of 16 characters containing at least 4 different characters, at least one letter and at least one number or symbol. The SHA-IN passphrase is a value you'll create for use in the hashing process. This is the key to allow ePDQ to hash the transaction information submitted to the hosted payment page. This ensures that the payment values have not been tampered with. Transaction feedback is where you'll configure the page you want the cardholder to return to once the transaction is complete. You can specify a HTTP redirection URL for authorised, declined, exception and cancel transaction responses. These URLs can be the same or different. For a more personal response for the cardholder, you can instruct ePDQ to send transaction feedback parameters to these URLs, and you can also trigger automatic back-office tasks such as a database update. This, though, is reliant on the cardholder completing the transaction process by allowing themselves to be redirected to the web page. Because the redirection process is visible, you should ensure you use the SHA-OUT signature to prevent any tampering with the data and to verify the contents of the request. More information on this can be found in the integration guides. We recommend that you consider using an SSL certificate on the redirection URLs, as the cardholder could receive a browser-generated message warning them that they are leaving a secure environment. ePDQ also makes use of a server-to-server post which can be configured under the direct HTTP server-to-server request header. With this feature, ePDQ can send a HTTP request to any URL with the transaction feedback parameters contained. This process enables you to update your databases with the transaction status without the cardholder completing the transaction. However, you can only specify one URL in each text field and you cannot specify any ports in the URL. The next crucial configuration on this page involves how you set the SHA-OUT passphrase. This is used to create the SHA-OUT signature, which you will find below the transaction submission modes header. We suggest you use a password or passphrase with a minimum of 16 characters containing at least 4 different characters, at least one letter and at least one number or symbol. ePDQ can issue transaction emails to both the cardholder and the merchant, or if you like, you can create your own personal email to the cardholder. If necessary, we can provide you with a sample PHP script to handle the transaction variables such as amount, order ID, currency and language from the website, and it includes them with the ePDQ values such as PSP ID and a SHA-IN passphrase. Your script will need to concatenate alphabetically the variables mentioned earlier in the format parameter equals value, followed by a SHA-1 passphrase. Any other variable passed from your website, in addition to the minimum required, will need to be concatenated alphabetically in the same string using the same parameter equals value, followed by a SHA-1 passphrase format. You'll need to remember that all these parameters are case sensitive and should be in uppercase when compiled to form the string before the hash. If you need the sample PHP script, please contact the ePDQ support team. The next variable you need to create is for the SHA-IN passphrase. The name of this variable can be anything you like. However, in this case, I have called it SHA passphrase, and I assigned this variable a value. You'll remember earlier we mentioned the SHA-IN passphrase detail in the data and origin verification screen in the back office. Remember to make sure this passphrase is the same. Next, you must create a string in alphabetical order in the format parameter equals value, followed by a SHA-1 passphrase as seen here. Each parameter must be in uppercase, and parameters that do not have a value should not be included in this string. The string is assigned a variable. In this case, we have given this variable the name $SHA signature, and that then equals the concatenated string. The next stage is to create the PHP function and variable from the resulting SHA-1 hash. Here I use the PHP function SHA-1 to hash the variable we created earlier, $SHA-signature, and then assign the resulting hash a new variable, $SHA-sign. The final stage involves the creation of a HTML form that will be used to post the transaction information and the cardholder to the hosted payment page. You must pass the same parameters and values used to create the hash within the HTML form alongside the SHA sign that was created using the parameters and values. This is so ePDQ can recreate the SHA hash based on the received parameters and values and compare it with the hash you have created. If the SHA sign result is not identical, the order will be declined. This check ensures the accuracy and integrity of the order data. Make sure you remember that every value you include in the HTML form must be included in the SHA string to hash. Perform some test transactions to ensure the accuracy of your integration and to root out any potential issues. ePDQ provides you with the test card information under the Test Info tab of the Technical Information screen. To go live, you should raise a support ticket in the back office or send an email to the ePDQ support team. Let them know you'd like to be switched live. Make sure that you include your PSP ID in your request. Your final step before going live will require you to change the URL in your HTML from test to live. If you do not do this, your transactions will still be in test mode. Throughout this video, we've shown you the basic steps to integrate to ePDQ Essential. Don't forget to read the integration guides available in the back office of your trial or test account or from our website. Further help and advice is available from our ePDQ support team. Before we finish, we'll show you 2 transactions using ePDQ Essential on a demo site. As usual, on a website you will view and add products to a basket. Next, the customer will key in their personal and delivery details. By clicking to pay, they are transferred to the Essential hosted page. The cardholder selects their card type. As we mentioned earlier, as well as displaying a merchant's logo, you can also change the font and background color. The cardholder keys in their card payment details and confirms. The card issuer may choose to step in at this point to undertake a 3D Secure security check. In this demonstration, the issuer has chosen not to step in. The cardholder receives the response to the authorization message and returns automatically to the redirect URL where they are welcomed back to the site. Here's another example of how the ePDQ Essential hosted payment page can be displayed. The cardholder clicks through the site to buy their product. This time the integration has been changed so that the selection of the card type for payment is on the merchant's site instead of the hosted page. The cardholder now simply keys in their card details. The transaction will be completed as normal. Again, the issuer will choose to step in for the 3D Secure check or not, and the transaction receipt is displayed to the cardholder. The cardholder is returned to the merchant's website. We hope that this video helps you with your integration. Further help and advice is available from our ePDQ support team. Thank you.